Okay, so here I have my Sharpie again, and the first step that we're going to do is actually to quarter this elastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this where I've sewn it on one end, and I'm just going to fold it in half, and I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm just going to mark that there. Then I'm going to bring my seam and the Sharpie into the center, just like this, where they can line up, and then I'm going to mark each end again. And so now this has been quartered, and then I'm going to take my pants, and these are already quartered with the seams on each end, the seam in the front, the back, and the side. And so what I'm actually going to do is I always like to have the seam of the elastic on the back. So when I put this on the pants, that is going to be right on the back seam here. So that's actually where I'm going to start sewing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it to the wrong side. So you can see this is the right side, this is the wrong side of my leggings. And I'm going to start sewing here, and then I'm actually going to just hold it so that my side seam is lined up with the other quarter line there. But you'll notice like there's a lot of room left between the leggings and the elastic, because the elastic is shorter than this. So, but not a lot, but it is going to be enough that I am going to have to stretch it a little bit when I sew. And I'm going to use my serger, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so here I am at my serger, and what I'm going to do is I'm again starting it at the back seam just like this, and I'm just going to put my serger presser foot right on it already. Now you can see I do have just the tiniest bit sticking out. I just want to take off maybe 1/8 of an inch, just enough to make sure that it's just going to be a nice clean edge. I don't want my cutter to cut my elastic at all, so I'm just going to kind of just graze it. I might touch it a little bit, but for the most part, I don't want it to be. And you can see here that this is not lined up, so before I even start sewing, I want to just make sure that I have both my quarter mark and my seam lined up, so that way once I get moving here, I can stretch it. So let's get started. Okay, so you can see I still need to do a little bit of stretching here. But I want to just readjust. Feel free to take your time when you're sewing. If you don't, you will end up wishing that you had. Okay, so now I'm going to readjust and go to the next quarter point on the pants and on the elastic, just like this, and line up my next one here. And then as I sew, it will go right in. Okay, constantly readjusting. Okay, so I have the elastic sewn all the way around, and it is on there perfectly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fold it just like that. Okay, so here it's inside out, and then I'm just going to fold it like that. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the back again, and I'm actually going to sew it so that this is going to be nice and flat here like this. Like this, and I'm going to sew right on my seam allowance to put it into place. I'll show you what I mean on my sewing machine. Okay, so I'm getting ready to sew, and you can see my needle is lined up here with my seam that I had sewn my elastic on with. Now when I sew my elastic on, I'm still going to have to stretch it just slightly to make sure that my seam will match up with the seam of the side of the legs and then both of the side seams there. So what I'm going to do is just pull it just like this, and I may even have my hand behind it just to make sure that it's being fed through evenly. And I'm making sure to use a stretch stitch for this step. Okay, so I have finished with my elastic waistband and both sides look great. So now it is time to try it on my baby.